Hey everyone, welcome to another live episode of the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. I am so excited to have Chris on the show. Now, it was a little bit of a fiasco before the show, all right? Just because technology doesn't always work, right? Everybody relax. We got it going. We can hear Chris, and he really does have kind of like a radio broadcast voice. So I'm really glad we were able to get the technology to work for him. It's an honor to have him on. We have actually been trying to get this show set up now for quite a couple of times, actually. This is I think, the second reschedule. He was supposed to come out in the fall, and I think something happened, or for whatever reason, he had an event, was unable to make it, but I'm really, really glad he did. Um, we'll let him explain what we're smoking tonight. So, again, everybody, thank you so much for watching the show tonight. We're going to have an absolutely fantastic show. Let's get to know Chris Topper a little bit. Chris, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
It's a
So good to be with you.
Good. It's a pleasure, man. I'm excited that we finally got to set it up to where you were able to come on with no issues. I don't know what happened in the fall, but either way, you're here now. So before we dive into the show tonight, let's go ahead and kick off the "What Are You Smoking" segment, because this is my first show back, Chris. If you didn't watch last weekend or last week's, where I'm actually smoking a cigar. I was down for the count from last Tuesday. And in fact, I didn't smoke my first cigar from last Tuesday till yesterday during the day and at night. And I was able to smoke a couple of the little ones that you had sent me. And we'll get into that a little bit more. Um,
I, I
but
saw you hitting the cough button in the last show. You were hitting
Oh
that quite
man,
often.
it was bad. It was bad. We got some people watching. Hey, how you doing, Bruce? How you doing, Richard? Coop in the house tonight.
Hey,
Showing some
Coop,
love and support. Love Cooper. Love Coop.
great guy.
I'm fantastic guy, and to be honest with you, has absolutely no reason to watch the show, but we're good friends, and I guess he likes what the show does. I watch his stuff, he watches mine. Coop's a really good friend of the show. He's on his at least once a year. I think last year he was on twice. So it's always nice to know he's watching. But Chris, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the "What Are You Smoking Tonight" part of the show, sponsored by Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Thank you so much, Steve Saka. I will let you explain to everybody what you're smoking first, and then you can tell everybody what I'm smoking after.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, so I'm starting off with 125th anniversary, um, which is it's probably one of my favorite cigars in our lineup that we've ever had, and we'll talk about it more later. But it's kind of true to our company with the Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. So that's it's obviously my favorite wrapper. So
Well, I am. Now I've actually had the ability to smoke almost one of everything at least that you sent over. You were so kind to send over a few samples. I gotta say, man, this stuff really knocks it out of the park. It's nothing that's gonna turn your nose inside out. It's not gonna be a retro hail nightmare, but it's a very, I would say, medium to fuller body, at least the one I'm smoking. Probably closer to that medium, but really full flavor, really great smoke output, and great notes. So tell everybody what it is that I am smoking.
it looks like you have the 1894, which we just released last year. So that's the newest line that we just recently came out with. Definitely an interesting blend in that, and some tobacco that we were the first to market with as well. That the wrapper is something that's uh, very limited, grown in a small area in Pennsylvania, but it's a Habano seed, so a little bit different.
Well, I mean, did I hit this about right? I would put this at like a medium, maybe a medium plus. It's a little peppery on the lips, but it's got a really bright finish to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's some broadleaf in the filler there, so you get the Habano taste on the initially, which is kind of that, for lack of a better term, I always call it that Habano twang, that little spice that you get,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of sweetness on the finish from the broadleaf that's in the filler.
Yes, it's very, very good. All right. So thank you so much, Steve Saka, sponsoring the What Are You Smoking Tonight segment. Now, Chris, are you drinking anything tonight? Are you washing this amazing cigar down with a beverage?
I have a little bit of Elijah Craig.
Fantastic. A specialty bottle or just an Elijah Craig?
Just a small batch, nothing crazy. It was
Okay.
open, so that's what I took.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I'm going to be washing this down with Hidden Barn, which is the official whiskey of the Rocky Mountain Cigar Show. Again, I have not drank. I didn't even drink last week on the show, which since probably the entire time of the show, I don't think I've ever had a show without a cigar or a drink. To be very honest with you, so I got to get back into the swing of it, and we'll have a couple extra drinks tonight to make up
I
for
mean, it
last
was
week.
fitting. Your guest didn't smoke either, so that worked out
No, he
fine for
didn't.
you. So,
And it's actually funny because when I called him to do the show, he um, he told me, he's like, tobacco's one of the few things that never took for me. So I can't really complain because I mean, my gosh, the guy was a big drinker and coke and stuff like that. So
right,
I
right.
I didn't think I was gonna drink even if I felt up for it, just out of respect. Um, but I did intend on having a cigar until about 15 minutes before the show started, and I realized there's just no way. There's no way I'm doing that. So, but enough about last week's guest, Chris. Tell everybody a little bit about who you are. You've been in this industry. The family's been in the industry for a very long time. So give everybody just a quick elevator pitch on who you are and a little bit of background.
So a little bit of background. Fourth generation. The company started by my great grandfather in McSherrystown, Pennsylvania. Small little town. Most people don't know where it is. It's near Gettysburg. When my family originally moved to that area in Pennsylvania, just that small town, there was about 1,800 people, and they had about 20 cigar factories. So it was kind of a little mecca for cigar manufacturing. I think it was the spring of 1893 is when my great grandfather's family moved there, and he moved there to learn the cigar trade. He basically went there to learn how to make cigars, and uh, we'll get a little more into it later. But in around 1894 is basically when he started his own company, and so that's hence the name of the 1894. We'll give you a little more of that story later. I'm sure you'll ask a couple of questions on that, but so yeah, so fourth generation. It's kind of funny. I was looking up some numbers today. Again, it's the amount of companies that make it to fourth generation is about 3%. So I mean, that's kind of
I think that's a little
it's
high too.
yeah. Well, but the interesting thing is that the number that's really tough to do is that a company to make it 100 years, it's less than a 0.5%.
Hmm.
So when you and combine those two, so I mean, it's kind of a testament to the industry and our product, and uh, I mean, I've kept it going, but I mean, if it wasn't for the first three generations, obviously, and working with my dad for a while, it was it was just a great opportunity, and happy to be able to continue it. And it's sometimes I'm not a big talker about myself, but it's just it's kind of amazing when you think about it. To have a company that long, and to be able to continue it, it's just been an honor. So.
Well, considering that I've been in sales, business consulting of some fashion for close to 20 years, 25 years in total for just sales alone. And one of the things that I've always found interesting on generational businesses is the fact that typically by the time you hit the third generation, the interest in running the company is waned in most cases. In most cases. Um, when you actually statistically look at it, the founder of the company and the first generation after that founding, so the son or daughter, typically has a higher interest in running the company. By the time you get to the third generation, especially the fourth generation, one of those generations is looking to get out. They don't want to be in the business, they don't want to run it, they want to just kind of get rid of it. So to see it actually go a full four plus, I mean, going into potentially a fifth, that's a testament to also how well the company is run and the management of the company in itself. I get it, you're not, 20,000 people, but you don't have to be, um to be able to be a great business that's run and managed well.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, you get, and once you start getting a bunch of cousins in there and different things, I mean, family can, it's always can be, it can be a lot of fun and maybe not sometimes. So it's just a different dynamic, business wise. So, and I was super fortunate, youngest of six, but, my dad was, I mean, we had a great relationship. I was able to work with him, you know, I wouldn't even say we had arguments. We would have differences of opinion, but I never really got mad at him, and I don't think he got mad at me. So we were able. It was just very super fortunate to have such a great person to follow and to look up to, and to be able to. I mean, you hear it and you see it all the time. You see people, yelling like cats and dogs and stuff. So I never had that with myself and my dad. It was just a great relationship. Unfortunately, he passed pretty early, so I didn't have as much time as I would have wanted to be able to work with him. But um, you know, it was just the whole experience growing up around the industry and or growing up around the business. Whether it was going to the tobacco fields with him or going on the road with him when I was a kid, going out to Pennsylvania to the factory, and it was just a great experience all around. So
Now, is there anybody else? You said you're one of six. Is there anybody else inside the in the family in the business?
yeah, so I'm the youngest. So I have two brothers that were both in the business. One was like way back a long time ago in the 80s, and that was a totally different environment, different business before the boom, before everything. Things were really going down, kind of on a downward trend. And he ended up moving and got out of the business. I had another brother that was still in it. Again, the industry was different. He was working with my dad, but he was also brokering and doing his own thing on the side. So, um, by the time I graduated college and my brother, the one brother that was still working with my dad, was pretty much doing more stuff on the outside, but still represented our product also. And then when I graduated in 1990 from Bryant University, I had a talk with my dad, and he's like, "Well, even if you want a job, I'm not giving you one." So, as I was think about it, 1990, the whole 80s. I mean, the industry was pretty much flat and just going
Hmm.
down. There was about 100 million cigars imported, and it kept going a little bit lower, a little bit lower. It wasn't tanking, but it wasn't going anywhere. So there was no enthusiasm in the. There couldn't. I mean, there was a couple of trade magazines, and that was about it. There was nothing. So so I graduated in '90, and then. He said, "We'll talk about it, but down the road. But right now, there's nothing." So I went out and I got married. I got a job. I was doing stuff, bought a house, and then like 92, we're looking and things are all of a sudden things start to turn a little bit. 92, 93, and that's when you have all of a sudden cigar dinners happen, cigar aficionado, the beginning of the boom, and things start to happen. And 93, we started talking and saying, looks like things are turning, and there was an opportunity. And then I started with my dad in 94. So I've been doing it. This is 32 years now.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't ask this because I don't I didn't hear of Topper cigars until about 3 years ago. Um, Now that doesn't mean anything, right? Because Colorado's a really hard state for cigars. What do you say to somebody when they're like, "I've I've been smoking cigars for 30 years. I've never heard of you one time. How have you been in this business for four generations and I not know who you are?" And that's a tough one to answer too, I'm sure, because there's so many
I would put it back
businesses.
in them and said, "We've been here 130 years. Where the hell you been?" I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
but no, I mean, we are our biggest market share is in New England. We are a national brand. I do sell across the country. We've had reps throughout the country over the years. Um, but never is we're not in. If you go to Connecticut or up in New England, almost every store will have our product in it. But once you get out of in different territories, I mean, we're just not as represented as I would like to be. Working with a bunch of new distributors and trying to, we've been trying to grow and to get into different markets and having some success. But it's yeah, just not, I can't be everywhere's. And we never had a large sales force, so we kind of worked the same distribution channel for this many years. Obviously, it's worked. It hasn't
Sure.
made us, that so that we're in every store across the country, but it's worked for what we've had, and it's just kind of also. I mean, being in Connecticut now too. I mean, we were kind of known as a Connecticut broadleaf company, one of the Connecticut cigars. I mean, if you go into Connecticut, or if you're in a store, I mean, all the time I'll hear people walk in and say, "Oh, I need a Connecticut cigar," and they're not asking for like a new. They're asking for like the type of product that we make, even on the machine made line. That's type of like the Connecticut type cigar, the old fashioned machine made cigar that's all tobacco and Connecticut wrappers. So that's kind of what we're known for here. So um, even though all throughout the years, and we'll get into this a little bit, I mean, we've made handmade cigars for longer than we made machine made, but the volume that we've had in our business has been with the machine made cigars.
Now, do you find that with what's going on around classifications of premium handmade cigars, machine rolls are being kind of cut out of that? Is that a concern?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, and I can't keep up with all of it. I mean, it's crazy the stuff that you hear, and whether it's California or whatever, and all this type of stuff that's going on. So, the thing that I focus on is that we have a predicated product with the machine made, which is short filler, and that's technically that was going to be a huge issue years ago. Everything had to be predicated when we were doing all the craziness back in the 2000 with like 17, whenever that happened. But I have all that information from the FDA, so that's that product is grandfathered and able to be sold. Anything can change. I mean, like things change every day, but so that's really not a huge concern. And the fact that it's all tobacco does help. But because it's machine made, sometimes I get targeted or get thrown under the bus with
Mm.
everything else that's not all tobacco. So there's always concerns. I mean, just to give you a little anecdote. I mean, when my parents got married in 1954, my mom said to my dad, she says, what do you think about the business? How long do you think it's going to last? And he said, 10 years if we're lucky. So, I mean, I think it's more elevated now, all the issues that we have, but there's always been issues, and there always will be, I think. So, and it's just a matter of,
Adapting.
you know, keeping the fight and adapting or whatever we got to do. So, yeah.
Well, we got Richard here asking the question of, do you need any help in Maryland, Virginia, or West Virginia?
I was in Maryland last week. I just opened up an account. I have a rep down there. So, yeah,
There you go.
unfortunately.
So, well, tell us a little bit of where did you start within this industry? Did you start at the bottom of the totem pole? Did your dad make you work to be able to take over the business, or did you kind of start with the concept in mind that you were taking it over?
Well, my dad was, I mean, when I got in, my dad was slowing down, and I pretty much was on the road. So I was out making sales calls. He was still doing all the tobacco purchasing and all that kind of all the that info, all that. So I was learning the trade and out in stores, mostly retail stores, so and wholesalers. Um, Big difference with the machine made. We deal with a lot of like the old fashioned candy and tobacco wholesalers. So those, it's not like going to a smoke shop, a great lounge where you can sit down and have a cocktail with somebody and, and they order 10 or 12 or 20 boxes or whatever. Those guys buy stuff by the case. They're buying the machine made. So I was dealing with both of those. And then, my, as time went on, I had always been around. I would go to the farms to meet the growers. So I mean, I kind of knew the growers and that aspect of it. So I kind of had to learn that part as well. Um, the one thing that I always regret is that all the other three generations, like what my dad said, had tobacco hands. I mean, they had to work it. He ran the factory. They all ran the factory. So, by the time before I was born, our factory was actually closed because that was in the 60s, the early 60s. So one thing that I never really got to do, I go out and look at tobacco and I can do that, but I never physically was working in the factory, never had that opportunity because we just didn't have that opportunity when I got into the business.
So what's something that you kind of, let me ask it differently. What's the thing that you changed when you were like, "Oh, I love my dad. I don't agree with him here. If I ever took over the company, it would be this." What's the thing you changed when you took over?
I mean, maybe a little more aggressive and doing, it wasn't too long before I got into the business. I was traveling to the DR with some of the guys. That was with Carlos Torreno back in the day. I took a trip there. My dad never went to the DR and to visit any of the other countries. So, it wasn't part of our business at that point. We had some cigars imported from Honduras, but I don't believe he was at the factory. I went to the factory. So, trying to garner new relationships and build new relationships and help add additional lines and that was probably one of the things that I did a little more than he had the opportunity, or not that he didn't have the opportunity, he just didn't do, because it's a small operation. It
It
wasn't
wasn't
like we
called
had
for either.
no, it wasn't. He didn't need it. We had the relationship. um
Hey, more.
Okay. Yeah, well, basically, I'll just tell this part of the story. So, early 60s, my dad's running the factory. Um, he's got about 20 rollers left, and their average age is 70. I think I've told this story a million times. But so he's got no labor force. He's not going to be able to continue to do that.
Sure.
And then the embargo hits. So huge change. He goes from there's actually another factory in the same town that was FX Smith. They had an automated machine factory. They're making machine-made products with the old AMF machines. So we went from, Cuban long filler, handmade with Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, to a machine-made, no Cuban filler cigar. So a short filler at that. So it went from, Cuban long filler to handmade to a short filler machine-made cigar. So a huge dynamic change. We had, but we didn't have we didn't have any option. There was no option. That we didn't have the labor force. Weren't able to continue that. So, but in any event, that was, it was a huge change. The transition went fine, and it actually improved business at that point. The numbers continued to grow.
So then, as the 90s hit, 94, I think you had said, if I remember correctly, is
Mhm.
when you started in. You had to add lines at that point. Like, you had to grow. The need for cigars was much, much more expansive in especially the mid 90s. And you're probably maybe the one of couple generations with inside the family business, so maybe that whole skipped your dad's generation, but you actually had a need to go down and learn the blends and create new blends because you had a higher demand for specific, more styles of cigars. Am I correct am I correct in maybe that thought process?
Yeah, because think about it. So 94, I started. I think, I don't know exactly when I went, but I think it was in 94. I went to the DR with Carlos Torreno to look at. It's probably late in the year. It was either late in 94, early 95. We were coming out with our 100th anniversary cigar, which was a handmade long fill
Hmm.
cigar. So that was kind of my first project, or my first introduction of a cigar that I developed. So.
Did your dad think you were crazy that you didn't want to just stick to what he stuck to? Was he open to
No,
the
because
expansion?
not really. My dad's a cigar smoker. He loved. He thought it was what we needed to do. I think he was
Perfect.
more enamored. Think about it. My dad had been had run the factory for the business, or been in the business for over 40 years, 45 years at that point, and he knew Cuban long filler cigars, that they're making handmade cigars. So it wasn't like he didn't appreciate a good cigar.
Sure.
And we did have handmade cigars after that. There was only a short period of time where we didn't have anything that was made by hand. So I mean, we always had handmade cigars. And my brother, one of my older brother was involved in that too. We had some stuff that we were dealing with. We had some stuff made with Fuente. We were working with people in Honduras, a lot of different people that they were working with. So I just kind of continued what was started before, and realized that we had to go do something. I mean, I wasn't going to make a 100th anniversary cigar. Not that I'm knocking the machine made, but we were going to do a long filler. We do a celebratory cigar. We're going to do a handmade
Sure.
long filler cigar. So of course, and that's what I did. So. Um, but yeah, and he was always supportive. So I never had, it wasn't like there was no knocking heads. I mean, I can't even, I mean, I don't think I really have a story I could tell you of where I really knocked heads. I mean, we'd have a disagreement or whatever, or we'd have a different take. And then I'd say, oh yeah, you know what? You're right. Or he'd say, you know what? I think you were right on that one. And that was a good idea. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of give and take, and it was just,
it wasn't his way or the highway type deal. It wasn't
no,
that
absolutely not.
dynamic. See,
Absolutely
that's
not.
great though. Like in a family dynamic business, to where the next generation wants to run it, nobody wants to work for a my way or the highway. So the fact that he was open to your ideas, that he was open to you going to the DR, that he was open to the line expansion versus getting stuck in his own ways is a testament again to the leadership of the company and why it's been around for as long as it has. It doesn't seem like anybody was stuck in their ways, and you guys ran it as a true family business from that standpoint. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I mean, look, um, the biggest thing is that I had complete respect for my dad and his opinion. I mean, who am I to, I mean, he's been doing it for 40 something years. How am I going to, I wasn't going to, a lot of us think we know everything, but I mean, I was coming in, I was learning. I wasn't there to tell him what to do. I was there to learn how to do it, and, um, obviously as you get into it and you start learning, I mean, I picked up and I have a different take on something, and he's like, hey, that's actually a good idea. I never thought of it that way. I mean, it's just so that was a great give and take that I was able to have with my dad. So
Well, yes. I mean, again, that's a fantastic dynamic with it. So, I know you had mentioned your father had passed early on. What year was that, if you don't mind me asking?
in '97,
Oh, oh,
yeah. So I
really
was really
early
thrown in.
on.
I was really thrown into the fire. So I didn't think about '97.
You got
So
three
in
years.
95 tobacco broadleaf, we're buying crops. It's 450 a pound in the field. 97, my dad passes away in May, and tobacco is 1150 in the field. And business had doubled in the last 3 years, so we needed more of it. So yeah, I got right into it. Had my house on the signature for the bank note and everything. It was all kinds of fun. So yeah, I got right into it real quick. I learned real fast that it's not always what everybody thinks it is when you're the boss. So, but I mean, the other side of it was I remember going when my dad passed. So it's May that the crop is in the field, and I went out to see the main grower that we worked with. He was an old timer. I think he was probably in his probably late 70s, and he's out working in doing something in around the barn. And I got out of the car and went over to talk to him, and he just looked up, said, hey, he says, don't worry, everything will be the same as it was with your dad. And he kept back to his work. It didn't even it was like, so I mean, the relationships, that's where I had the respect for my dad. The relationships that were already made and then allowed us to exist for that long, I was able to continue. So it made it much easier to do everything because of his relationship with our suppliers and the people that we worked with.
So when you got thrust into this, in the sense that 3 years in, was that at that point in time like, okay, I'm taking it, I'm taking over, or was there ever like a, oh my gosh, I don't even, I've only been in this thing for 3 years. Like, yes, I was born and raised in it, but was there a huge concern on your part?
I mean, of course, yeah. I mean, of course, you're concerned, and there's a lot of unknowns. I always said there's so many questions I wish I would have asked, but I mean, what are you going to do at that point? I did it. So, I mean, I didn't really, I'm not going to say I didn't have a choice. But I felt,
I love
I
it. I
remember
love
being
it.
like on one of my, like in the first couple of weeks, I was doing a sales call and I walked in and I'm talking and, one of the guys, it was a customer. They were sitting there and we were just BSing. And he says, "Oh," he says, "You're fourth generation, huh?" And I said, "Yeah, it's the fourth generation." He says, "Don't F it up." I'm like, "Oh, thanks. Just what I need." Right. So yeah, no pressure. Right. So yeah, but you feel that, of course. Uh, but fortunately, we're able to persevere and get through that difficult time.
You know what I love though, that what you just said, and this is again what you hear just successful people say in general. I don't know. I just did it. It just had to be done, and I just got it done. Like, it's being able to kind of cannonball yourself into a situation and still get out of the pool unscathed is a huge testament to your character as somebody that runs a business, to stay calm, level headed, and not just say fuck it all. I'm selling it. I'm done. Like, I put my house up for this, like you had said. So, I mean, I commend you on that for sure, being 3 years into this and being able to do that and keep a level head about it. There's a lot of people that I know personally that probably would have just been like, "All right, we're selling." Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not. I just don't know. So I mean, kudos to you for keeping
Yeah, I
it
mean, you
going.
got to remember the timing of it too. I mean, if it was the mid '80s and I was the same age, might have
Oh,
been different. If
for
business
sure.
was stuck in wind, so the business was crazy and it was booming. But fear not, '97 come around the corner and things kind of took a nosedive. So yeah, so I kind of, I always remember when I first got in the business. I mean, you didn't have to do anything; you just answered phones. I mean, people were calling up trying to get stuff. I remember one of the first ads that I designed. I was like, "Oh, we'll just put, call for your nearest retailer, call and put our 800 number in it, thinking that the consumers are going to call and maybe I can, do some follow up and try and get some new business in new areas." I mean, retailers are calling and saying, "Hey, do you have inventory? Send me something." I mean, it wasn't that easy, but it was kind of, it was just a different environment. And then you go to times where, people have too much stock, and I'm sitting there with a new line from Nicaragua that's by the time I got it to market, there was 18 gazillion Nicaraguan cigars on the market, and they were like, I mean, it's not like it wasn't Nicaragua today. It was back then. It was just there was so much. Everybody was doing them, and it was just crazy, and it was kind of flooded, and and that's back in the day when Lou Rothman was buying up all the closeouts because people just couldn't get rid of them. So in any event, it was a big learning curve, and fortunately, we have a good customer base, a lot of old time customers, and our distributors that were helpful and just kind of kept everything, kept us going. So
Well, now you've got obviously several lines, but now you've got, within the last couple of years, you've got the 1894 release. You said this was last year, right?
yeah.
And now the Grande that you're smoking now. When does that one come out?
Well, the Grande, this is the 125th, so that was a few years back.
So the
That
125th.
was
So that was a few years ago. So
yeah.
tell everybody what these two cigars mean to you, and let's kind of dive into them as much as you're willing to.
So the 125th, I mean, it's not like they're all your kids, but I mean, I love them all. But the 125th was special because we I had always planned on doing a 125th anniversary cigar, but then um, we did a 120th anniversary because that was when the FDA came in and said that there was going to be no new cigars, so everybody
Yep.
was rushed to market. So it wasn't. I mean, it was a good cigar. 120th anniversary. The cigar was fine, but it wasn't something that we sat there and smoked hundreds of samples or 50 samples or whatever. We didn't go through and pick out what we wanted. We had to get something in a box and present it
Get
at a
it out
trade show
there.
to show that it's on the market. So,
Sure.
um, and then when we got to do the 125th, so I worked with De Los Reyes factory, and I remember Jean Michel is he's the manager of the factory, and we were talking and coming up with something for the 125th because now we can create something that I really wanted to create. and his goal and objective was to make something 125 or 125th year anniversary worthy, and that's what we did. So I mean, we had some great tobacco from 2017 crop of broadleaf, and then he helped. He worked with the rest of it based on what they had, and that was something that we were able to just kind of to build as from the ground up, as opposed to just throwing something out there because we had to do it to meet some government deadline.
Now, is the 125th a staple in the line, or is that a
So the
once it was done, it was
125th
done?
is more of a limited production because I only have so much of that crop. So I kind of just I delegated it out for 5 years of production based on the tobacco that we had. So it's a lower volume, but we do have in the process now of getting some more tobacco so that about 3 years from now, when we run out of 2 to 3 years, when we run out, we'll be able to continue that line. Had such good feedback in this. I mean, it truly is my favorite cigar. So I just I enjoy this one, and it's a true broadleaf. It's it's a natural broadleaf wrapper. You see a lot of cigars that are super dark, and you got to do some, you got to heat them up to get them that dark. It's a straight natural Maduro. It's some of the great compliments I've gotten from people, other podcasts and reviewers, and they're like, it reminds us of what broadleaf really is. It's a raw, rustic looking tobacco, little toothy, and it's not always the prettiest wrapper, but it's just it's a great smoke.
Who cares
So
if it's not always the prettiest? It's broadleaf. If
I mean,
broadleaf was the prettiest,
yeah, I don't,
I
yeah,
like it rustic.
yeah, I don't smoke. We don't pick tobacco because it's pretty. We pick it because it tastes good. So,
No,
and
it's
then one of the cool things that we did do on that, and if you look on the back of that, I don't know if you smoked it or noticed, but on the band, if you look at the back, there's actually like a little extender. We had to put a little extra piece of gold foil on it. Those bands, we actually we found a box of them in the warehouse in Pennsylvania. So I found a batch of 44,000 bands from our factory that we used back in the 60s. So I thought how better can you authenticate a 125th anniversary cigar by using a 60-year-old band? It's not fancy. I mean, it's embossed and it's kind of cool. It's nothing super fancy. There's not a secondary band. There's nothing, but I just thought it just authenticated what the cigar was. Not trying to be something fancy. It is what it is. It's great broadleaf, and that's really our story.
So it's a 60-year-old band.
Yeah, they're 60 years old. I mean, the bands that I found, these bands that we found, I mean, because when we went to the machines, everything is on a bobbin. The bands are on a roll. And these were traditional bands in a box. And I remember when I found that, I saw that said 44,000 on the outside. I'm like, holy crap, that's perfect. We had found some earlier, and I put it on the 120th anniversary. That was a super limited run. I think we found like 5,000 or 7,000. And then I went to the factory in Pennsylvania, and they said, hey, look what we found. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. I mean, it was, so I'm like, I just used it again. So
no, that's awesome. That makes it better. Like that legitimately
yeah, I know.
makes it better. That ties generations together.
I mean, technically, my grandfather could have been overseeing stuff when those bands were made. I mean, he might have been there. Who knows? I don't know. But the thing that's scary, not scary now, but I do have to make some new bands. So that'll be this year's project, is to get some new bands, because when we do a newer production, I'd run out of the bands. I mean, I will run out of the bands pretty soon. It's like I said, it's a limited production. So
I would keep some sort of a throwback to this styling specifically.
I'm sure I'm just going to replicate it somehow. I'm sure we can. So
and the other thing I like too is the box again. I am so tired of these heavy wooden boxes. I don't know how much they cost to produce, but it probably adds, in some cases, 75 cents to $1 plus per cigar, depending on the box. I love the cardboard box cases. It is a throwback to old school Miami boxes, the old school Cuban boxes. I like that a lot better, and you did it really well. It really is a great looking box.
That one's got wood on it. That's got some wood on it, but
but it's not pressed the whole thing through with wood.
Yeah. It's and that box was I'll tell you a quick story. I'm sure if you when I found we replicated that box is a replication of a box that I found that was between 30. It was 1933 and 35.
I can believe
I had a
that.
buddy. I had a buddy who's a realtor, and he said, "Hey, Chris," he said, "I got a guy who's listing a house, and the house was from the late 1800s. He's got a bunch of cigar boxes in the basement." He said, "I was down there and I saw a bunch of your boxes. Do you want to go and look at them?" I said, "Sure." So, anyways, long story short, I get there and I bought whatever he had. But when I got home and actually looked at him, and it had the NRA seal on it, if you're familiar with that, it wasn't National Rifle Association. It was the National Recovery Act. So those boxes were only from 1933 to 1935. So that's the oldest box that I have that was in pretty good shape that I could definitely verify the age. So, yeah, so we replicated that. I mean, it's a pretty good replication. It's not everything is the same, but it's pretty close. If you look at the bottom, I had kind of a little bit of a twist too. I don't know if you saw the bottom, what that says. We did a little spoof on the old stickers that used to be on the bottom. If you read that seal.
It says here, the ordinary retail price of the cigars herein contained is intended by the manufacturer to be more than 8 cents each and not more than $19 each. That's funny. That's funny.
So, nobody ever, that's a little Easter egg. No one ever sees that, but I thought that was funny because it's, they used to put those seals on the bottom of all the boxes. So, anyways, my shot at humor, and I'm not going to be a comedian. I won't be a comedian like last week's guy.
Jeff Allen.
But anyway,
are you guys in Michigan?
So
we're getting a question here from Bruce where he could find you in Michigan.
Here's the thing. So a lot of the, I sometimes I don't have an answer for sure. We could be. I don't know that we have anybody that's direct. Having said that, I sell to a lot of national wholesalers, so they stuff shows up everywhere. So the easiest thing I'll say is that if you're having issues, if you don't have it in your local area and you have best places to go to your local brick and mortar retailer and have them give us a call. I mean, they don't have to order hundreds of boxes. They can try something so they can get it in there and see if it works for them. That's the easiest way.
If he wants to order online, where would a good online retailer be for you?
Yeah, I mean, just Google it. Whether it's if I say one, I'm going to get somebody else mad. So I mean, it's pretty easy. Just you Google Topper Cigars and where they're available, and they'll come up. So
okay. Do you guys have a store locator on your website?
Well, the website's down at the moment, so it's not going to help them, but it's coming back soon. So if we're redoing it.
Perfect. Now, are we allowed to talk about the other throw-in that you were kind enough to do? The unbanned? Are you willing to talk about that?
I mean, it's kind of been out there. I haven't really made a press release on it, but it's that little one. It's called the Topper Shorty.
Killer cigars, guys. Killer. What an incredible dog walker this is. 45 minutes. I mean, this is.
Don't call it that. Kurt will get mad at me. Kurt will send
that. Okay, I said it. A time frame for you to walk your kid or your dog or walk around the block. This is a killer cigar. Killer.
So that wrapper, it's the same. It's the wrapper from 2017, and we wanted to use all of it, but there's a lot of smaller pieces that wouldn't make the larger Vitolas. So, anyways, I said to him, make me something small. Just I'll smoke them, So I think they made about 1,500 and sent them to me, and I smoked them. So, and then I said, you know what? I think I should do something with this. So we were able to. In the last few productions, we had a few more wrappers. So I mean, again, it'll be limited, but we basically are going to put those in a box of 25. Had a big delay in the boxes. They should be ready. 25 count. Yeah. So those should be ready. But I mean, that's literally that cigar and an espresso is my way I start every day. Those things just they smoke great. That's smaller. It's a 4 1/4 by 43.
Punchy.
And it's got plenty of kick. I mean, it's nothing. It's robust. It's got, the great natural sweetness of the broadleaf. There's Nicaraguan Habano in the filler. I mean, it's got some body to it. It's not anything over the top. And sometimes when you go to the smaller ring gauge, you get a little more from the wrapper. But it's just a great smoke. They burn awesome. I mean, it's just amazing the ash on those things. It's just it's a great. And a lot of the a lot of guys do tricks, and they have on some of the smaller sizes. They won't do long filler, but it's all long filler. It's just a great little smoke. And initially, I just I mean, I joke. I said I smoked all of them, but I would kind of kind of tease people with it. Was a little teaser, try this, and then they try it and like, oh, this is really good, and then they would try the bigger ones and try those or put them in the stores. So it was a great entry into the line. So,
So,
but yeah,
this is the same tobacco or the same wrapper at least from 2017.
same blend. It's the same blend. It's
So
the
are
sand
you
blend.
calling? What are you calling this one again
No,
now?
it's gonna be. I'm on my phone now. I'd show you a picture, but yeah, no, it's a branded 100 same box. Only it's a little it's five rows of five. So little
Okay.
upright box. Box looks great. Just looks just like the other box. A
Oh,
little bit different. We
fantastic.
had to tweak it. Yeah. So it's branded as that. So
Okay, cool. Yeah,
um,
it's a killer, and it's punchier than the Toro for sure.
yeah, of course, that small ring gauge, and it's just it's. Right. Yeah, I mean, you can. I've seen people. I've had them. If you just nurse it a little bit, you can get close to an hour out of that thing. But it's a good, solid 35 to 45 minutes of some great flavor.
No, and it's clean. It's very flavorful. Again, it's definitely punchier. It's got a little bit more in the retro hail, but I would say it's just as balanced as the full size. As I should say, the full size as the Toro.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks. I mean, it's it was kind of by accident. It was kind of my cigar for a while, with no bands like that, and then we just decided to put it in the box and do it. I thought, even in, you're in Colorado, I'm in Connecticut. It's like 12 degrees out tonight. So if it's that high, uh, not everybody has an hour and a half or 2 hours to commit to a big cigar. So it's a great, it's not a quick cigar, but it's a great shorter cigar that just provides a ton of flavor.
yeah,
Um,
and you don't feel like you missed anything at the end either. Like it's sometimes with the shorter cigars, it feels like you missed something from the bigger version or the Toro version. I don't think you did. I think I it hits my palate a little bit better because I like to lean towards heavier, a little bit stronger, a little bit more robust. So for me, it hits it a little bit better.
I mean, like I said, I don't like to talk or boast, but I mean that little thing's legit. That thing,
Hmm.
it's a great smoke. I don't. I don't know that I don't think I've had anybody smoke that didn't have a similar response to what you're saying, which is great. I mean, it's just a great little cigar.
Yeah, and again, so when you hear obviously everybody wants to be nice and it's hard as a business owner for you to go, oh, are you just being nice? um when you hear a lot of people say the similar things about your cigars, at what point in time do you kind of sit back and really start to go, oh, thank you, and feeling that it's genuine versus just somebody that's meeting you going, this is this is good. Does that make
Yeah, I
sense?
mean, no, yeah, of course. I think you can tell. I mean, like, you can tell when someone's just by the way they're smoking it. You can tell. I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, you can. I mean, and again, to your point, um, if you hand it out to 10 guys and they have the same reaction, 10 guys have the same reaction. I mean, it's probably pretty close to what it is. So, and that's the response to that was, okay, let's figure out how to do this and let's put them in a box. Um, so I mean, by chance there might be a little white spot on it or something, but instead of just not using it as a wrapper, I mean they all look great and they're fine, but some of them may be a little more rustic because we're trying to get as much of that broadleaf on there as we can and make as many of those small ones as we can. So again, still small numbers. It's not like I mean it'll be less than 10,000 a year, so it's not like there's until I get more tobacco. But I mean, it's the blend is the blend, so I mean, it's going to continue. I'm just hopeful that we can continue to get broadleaf, and because that's always a difficult wrapper to get. So
Now, being in sales for as long as I have been, and it's kind of a geeky thing for me, um, what differentiated your approach to moving cigars? Obviously, 80s, 70s, 60s, totally different approaches. But if your dad was running the business with you today, how do you think your two approaches would differ for how to get new cigars inside of shops?
I mean, it's a good question, and I don't know that I'd have to really put some thought into that. I'll look back at the difference between my grandfather and what my dad learned from him. I mean, my grandfather pretty much was a different time, but I mean, he'd be walking up and down the beach in Connecticut and handing out cigars. I mean, he used to. Even when I first started, I used to run into customers that, of course, you could do it back then. You can't do that today, but according to the FDA. But yeah, I mean, he would go out. He would go out and kind of. He lived in the town where they moved to in Meriden, Connecticut, and he'd go out and make his Saturday morning stops. At the KFC, the American Legion, all these little. He'd hit all the clubs, and he'd go out and buy drinks for people and give cigars out. And just to promote the brand and to build the brand. And then I used to hear all the stories that people that when I again 20 30 years ago when I started, and they're saying, I remember your great grandfather people used to follow him to every bar. They'd end up with 3 or 4 cigars and a bunch of drinks on my grandfather. But I mean, so he built it that way. My dad always wanted to. He was always generous to give out. I mean, you got to get it in their hands, and you got to get them to smoke it. So, I mean, things are a little different today as far as how that goes. But I mean, you still got to do the same thing. You got to get it. You got to get it to people's hands and promote it that way. And whether it's there's different technology, there's different ways people promote things, but in general, it just all comes down to getting the exposure and getting people to try it. And I mean, for example, the people that are watching this show, these guys are into it, and guess what? They're talking to a bunch of other guys that are into it. So they say, hey, I tried that. It was actually that cigar that Ryan liked, that little one. Holy cow, it was pretty good. And then so that word of mouth travels quick and within the groups, and you just build on that. So
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that. It's you're not watching a cigar show unless you're a habitual cigar smoker, right? I mean, that's the reality of it is. And everybody that watches the show here, well, not everybody, but a lot of the people that have watched, I've had the ability to know privately, and I do know they actually buy cigars that from guests on the show, and it's fun to be able to kind of learn the fans of the show's palette, right? Because what you find out is you cultivate to people who like cigars like you. So if you're a habitual watcher of a cigar show, is a high likelihood that kind of you have a similar palate. Because oftentimes I'm talking about medium to heavy. That's really where my wheelhouse is, and I've actually found that a lot of the fans of the show typically fall in that. So it's always fun for me whenever a guest does come on, and somebody that watches the show regularly will reach out and buy a few boxes or buy a couple 5 packs of a cigar and go, man, you hit it right on the head. Like that was a really good one. So I always appreciate that
yeah.
connection with the fans.
And what's the first thing those guys do?
Oh, they tell
I mean,
10
it
other
happens to me all the
people.
time. Well, they're handing them out. Hey,
Oh,
try
yeah.
this.
Oh,
They'll give it to you. I mean, I go to stores.
yes.
That's how,
Yes.
most of the cigars I smoke of all the well, I wouldn't even say competition, but all the other cigars. I mean, I get them at trade shows. I get them when I go into stores. Like, hey, have you tried this? And I mean, it's that's just a part of whatever the group, whatever you want, the camaraderie that cigar smokers have. So I mean, it's and they don't want to keep it all to themselves. They want to share it, and that's part of the whole camaraderie of what we sell and what we what the whole environment is about smoking cigars and relaxing and sitting down and talking with somebody and going and just shooting the shit. So I mean, you give them a reason to sit down and talk about things, and it's the great equalizer, right? It doesn't matter if
Absolutely.
you're it's just it's simple as that.
Cigars are like, I mean, cigars and alcohol are so similar in that. You know, I don't do the George Thorogood I drink alone aspect. I know I show up to a place, I'll bring a bottle and a few cigars, and if by George, if you don't have a cigar, I'm giving you one, and we're gonna crack that bottle together. And that's just the camaraderie around cigars. You go into
Sure.
lounges all the time, and it's people just open up their box and go, here, choose something you've never had. You know, cigar roulette is what we some of our friends like to do. Is just blindly reach into your bag and grab something and give it to somebody. And it you're right in that sense. Heavy cigar smokers or cigar connoisseurs, for lack of a better, and as cigar connoisseurs, anyone that smokes multiple cigars a week, in my opinion. One of the great things that they do is they share that good cigar. So if you get into one person's rotation, you've probably gotten into where that one person's maybe given that cigar to at least five people within
Right.
their circle. And then
I would
boom,
agree.
and it expands out from there. So you just got to get into a really good lounge, a couple really good lounges with some really good guys or girls that enjoy cigars, and you really can grow within that environment.
And on the sales note as well, I mean, I remember, I think it was in probably the later 90s. It was a couple of, well, at that point it was RTDA, a couple of accounts we had in St. Louis. And, he was like the only guy in town that had our product. And he sold one of our other lines, Rosedale, which was kind of a sleeper out there, but he liked it because it was, they couldn't get it at all the other stores in town. But, it didn't take long before all of a sudden it kind of grew organically, and I'm getting calls from other retailers in that area. So, I mean, that's partly due to people doing what we're saying, but also,
Yeah.
guys they don't go to one store either. If they smoke whatever XYZ, they smoke toppers at this guy's store, they're going to go ask for it at another store, and then sooner or later my phone's going to ring. So it's kind of great how that does happen. It takes time, but that does happen.
Now we have a question here from Richard. Do you make Marsh Wheeling cigars?
Yes, we do. So I don't own the brand, but I have the distribution rights for the US. um the which is, I mean, that's a, I don't know how much have you ever tried one? Do you know,
I
have you had one or no?
I have not. I have not. There's
So
so many
Marsh Wheeling
cigars out there I've never even heard of.
So Marsh Wheeling goes back to 1840. Think of it in the Green Mile. Remember the movie The Green Mile, the mouse
Yeah.
that was in a box? It was
Hmm.
in a Marsh Wheeling box. So, and it was on Mad Men. It was on one of their desks. I think it was on the girl's desk, though, the woman salesperson there. But anyways, the
Peggy.
Marsh Wheeling line is something that was huge with Civil War reenactors because they started in 1840. It's a period correct cigar for the Civil War. So I mean, it was there. Um, and huge history on that. But it's a 7 by 34. The main cigar that we sell, and
Wow, that's
it
smaller
was
than a
off the
Lancero.
yeah. So it's thinner, but
Gnarly.
it's a great little smoke. We when we started distributing it, it had been off. It had been out of business or off the market for about 3 years. So it took a little bit to get it back, but it's in one of my top 10 SKUs. I mean, we're doing pretty well with it. So um, that's a real regional brand as well. I mean, it does kind of there's certain areas where it's really strong. I mean, it was Wheeling, West Virginia is where it was. I don't know if you ever, if you Google Marsh Wheeling, there's still a huge old building with a sign that's like I don't know. The sign has to be 2 stories tall almost. It's a huge sign on top of the building. I went and saw it because I had a distributor in West Virginia in Wheeling that we started selling them when we brought the line back. But great old story, cool company. But it's machine made. But it's just an interesting size and style, and a lot of cool old information about that as well. So
Yeah,
kind of neat. I mean,
I'm,
go figure. We sell something that's old. I mean,
I'm.
they're even older than us.
That size is very interesting. I'm a Lancero whore. I'm the guy that actually buys boxes of Lanceros. Other, I just love the Lancero. So a 7 by 34. That's a very
I
very
mean,
interesting size.
So, and we do a box of 50. Their heads are pre-cut. I mean, if you go online, you'll find those for, I mean, a box of 50 for under $100. Probably, let's say around 80. Some people might be a little less. Some people might be a little higher. But it's incredibly affordable and a great smoke. It's just a step back in time for sure.
Interesting. I'll have to try to figure out how to find some of those. Very interesting. Um, so as we're kind of moving in to 2000s, mid 2000s in your world, how is that? What are some of the key changes you make within the company outside of going to the DR, self-producing, bringing in new lines? What are kind of some of the changes that you're deciding at this point in time you need to make within the company to keep it going?
So we had probably not my best moment, but we the thought process was the after the boom, and then people are into handmade cigars. So the market for machine made cigars is kind of it's still there, but it's not as strong as it once was, right? So I still have the line, but we stopped doing them by machine for a while and went back to all handmade. So I did the same, like our main line at that time was a Topper Breva, 5.5 by 46. So
Great
we
size.
just changed the packaging. We went from, and it was handmade, but mixed fill. And so the cigar was great. Everything was fine, but the volume it was a difficult transition. So it didn't go as well as we had hoped, as well as I had hoped. And then fast forward like 4 or 5 years, we're doing that. I mean, we're doing okay, but not doing the numbers that we wanted to. And when I stopped or when I switched, there was probably 3 or 4 other companies that made a very similar machine made cigar to ours. So there was, again, the business wasn't enough for probably 4 families, but maybe, and I just didn't think that there was a future in it. So I made that change. But by the time I had made the change to handmade, within 3 to 4 years, all the other companies folded. So I got back. I kept the handmade line, but I got back into the machine mades, and then just kind of, it wasn't enough for 4 or 5 families, but there was enough for one, and I was able to go back in and just capitalize on everyone else going out of business.
Well, it's probably a good thing you decided to just let them go out of business in the sense of not trying to compete and kind of see where the chips fell.
I mean, it might have been different if I didn't make. I mean, I never thought of it that way, but if I hadn't made the change, I could have been just like them. Who knows? So I
I
mean,
I
but
think I think that was a little bit of foresight in your mind,
yeah.
in your
So,
part.
but the thing was, it was extremely seamless because I was able to get right back into it because all of us had very similar products, similar tobacco. They're made at different factories, so obviously there's a little bit difference in taste and packaging and things like that. But in general, those were like what I was talking about before, the Connecticut type cigars. So they were broadleaf wrappers and Pennsylvania broadleaf binders, and mostly there was a little bit of imported filler, and then we still use a lot of the cuttings from the wrapper and we put that in the filler as well. So, but anyway, so I got back into that and it was, things went crazy for a while. So, I mean, we just, as it worked out fine. So, I mean, I was certainly happy. And we tried to there was one last company that was in business. We tried to buy that brand and they didn't want to sell. And so it ended up costing me less. I probably didn't get all of the business, but I didn't have to pay for another company and have another brand. I was able to promote my brand and get us back. And we're kind of like the last one that's making that type of cigar. So,
Now, there's obviously another really really big company that also makes machine rolled. Um, how would you say yours differs from them? Are you?
well,
I could just say quorum. How would you say yours differs from a quorum?
they have. I thought that most of those were handmade short filler. They do
I
make a.
I
They do.
thought unless I'm completely wrong, I thought quorums were all machine made.
I think that
Unless I don't
well,
know. I haven't smoked a lot of quorums, so I just
somebody will help us in the comments.
yeah,
Off the top of my head.
Richard or Bruce. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I thought that was a machine made cigar. Was the quorums.
In any event, what differentiated us always was the broadleaf. They use it as well, but I mean, we had our blend was. I think that our blend we used compared to other competitors. I won't say quorum, but we used compared to the other domestic companies when we were in business competing against all of them. We used a lot more imported filler, so ours tended to be a little smoother, and some of the other competitors tended to be a little more, even more rustic than just the normal broadleaf because they just weren't. A lot of the different things that they used in the filler. Like I would pay a little extra to have a more expensive filler. So, but there was other companies that were doing well with that. Some people liked that more. They wanted more bite. Ours didn't have as much bite. Ours were a little better smoking. And I mean, quite truthfully, a lot of the time, a lot of the traditional old time Connecticut smokers weren't even smokers. They chewed. I mean, I used to have a couple of customers that I'm like, I couldn't believe how many boxes. I mean, I have guys that they'd buy 2 boxes of 50 and chew them in a week. I mean, that's all they did was chew them, so, but that was a credit to the broadleaf. Cause I mean, try doing that with a cigar with a shade wrapper or, or whatever
It'll fall apart.
Yeah, they're going to fall apart. So, but yeah, so it's really just a combination of the machines and the shapes and the sizes were different than, I mean, the most obvious difference between us and Quorum is the shapes and the sizes. I mean, Quorum is more traditional.
Yes, it is. It is. It is more in the sense of it's a Toro mostly.
Yeah.
My uncle's the same way. He only lit a cigar, I think, one time, and that was when it started. And when it went out, he decided to chew it down. So it was like he'd look at you, take it out of his mouth. It looked like a busted up straw, and you're like, oh. Now I look at myself when I smoke a cigar, it still at the end looks like I just cut it, I've never been one of the what is it, the Uncle Buck way of smoking. Let me know. I'll keep it nice and juicy for you.
not my style either, so I would agree.
So where do you see Topper Cigars 5, 10, 15 years down the road? Do you have another generation coming in behind you?
So, there's an opportunity. Sure. I have 3 kids, 2 sons and a daughter. My oldest has a marketing and accounting degree and an MBA. So he's the one that probably would be, we've talked about it. So it's possible. It's just a matter of timing and seeing how things are going and seeing the direction. I mean, I wouldn't be honest if I just said that there's obviously concerns of all the political, all the stuff that's going on today. So there's always concerns, right? And I know what I went through. I mean, we went through. It was great when I started, and then there were some real lean years. So it's difficult to deal with all of that. So, but having said that, it would be great to be able to have that opportunity. So there's an option of that. My other son is a mechanical engineer, and then my daughter's she's definitely would not be interested. She's as a dance. She graduated with dance. So I mean, that would be the one possibility. But having said that, it's kind of an ongoing conversation. Kind of like when I graduated, my dad said, there's no job for you. I'm not doing anything. And then a few years later, he said maybe it's going to work out. So if I can. If things continue on the pace that they're at, and we maybe, again, business is never easy, as you well know. Just trying to increase distribution and get new markets, it's difficult. So, but the more that I can do that, and the better off the company is. It'd be nice to have the option of having someone come in, and we'll see how that goes. So, I would love to see it happen. If it happens, then we'll just know that everything that we've been working on has come to fruition, and it's been able to, it'll enable us to be able to do that. So,
may I ask how old your kids are?
Yeah, so my oldest is 28. So I just had a son. So I have a grandson who's just over a year. So, and then I have
Fantastic.
twins. My son and daughter are 25. So,
Oh, okay.
26, 25, 26, 26. I think 26. I'm going to get in trouble. They're not watching.
So let's talk about that then for a little bit. Obviously, when they were growing up, were you strict about the don't touch daddy's cigars? Or did you catch your sons like, yeah, I'm gonna take a couple out, go to the school, go hang out with my
I mean,
buddies?
the funniest story I have is one time I remember we had some family over and all the kids were doing like wiffle ball or something in the front. And I'm sitting on the front porch or whatever, and I'm sitting there smoking, and I had just exhaled a bunch of smoke, and my youngest, I don't know, maybe he was 7 or 8, came around the corner. He went like head first right into my exhale. I'm like, "Oh, sorry, bud," and he's like, "Oh, that's all right, Dad. Actually, I kind of liked it." I'm like, "Oh shit." So yeah, he smokes more than any other ones for sure.
Nice,
But yeah, no, I
nice.
mean, it was. I mean, they enjoy it. They don't smoke as regular as me. I mean, even when I always smoked, not a lot. I was more casual and occasional. Your dad owns a cigar company, so obviously I'm the one in college bringing the cigars and setting off the smoke detectors in the dorms. Well, you could actually smoke in the dorm back then. I can't even imagine that
Right?
today, right? Um, so yeah, I mean that was fun, but yeah, they I think they enjoy it, and they all have interest in it as far as just because it's a different, what does your dad do? My dad's a fireman, my dad's a this, my dad whatever, my mom does this, so it's definitely something that's a little different. But they appreciate the history, and unfortunately they didn't get to meet my dad, but they kind of they know that that's our story, so. Um, it's I think they have an admiration for it. Whether or not they get into it is another question. So we'll see.
Now, did you have the privilege of smoking a cigar with at least three generations? Your grandfather, your father, and yourself all
Well,
at the same time?
I I never met my grandfather.
Oh,
I never
okay.
did.
Okay. Okay. Um, so when did your dad officially take over the company then? You said it was, because you kind of
Oh,
blended decades.
it would have been. I think he was running the factory in the late. Well, they got married in '54, so he was running the factory with my grandfather at that point. So in the '50s. I mean, he
Okay.
wasn't in charge, but he was working with his dad at that point. So he ran it. When my dad, I think my grandfather passed in the late '50s.
Okay.
So my dad basically ran it from the early '60s um, till '97.
So kind of a
So
similar thing that happened to you then. Your dad steps
yeah,
in, his dad passes, you stepped in, your dad passed. Kind
yeah,
of
my my
relatively the same.
my 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 grandfather passed at 58, so it was unexpected. So
Yeah.
my dad was the oldest of 6, so he pretty much he had a law degree and an accounting degree, and was with 6 kids or 5 kids at that point.
Wow.
So and then my grandfather passed, and he pretty much, yeah, he kept it going. I mean, he was the oldest, so all his siblings would tell you. I mean, he helped keep everybody going to, the business paid for them to go to college, and kept everybody going. He kept the family going. So it was, um, he did what he had to do. Back to what we said in the beginning.
Sure.
So he was in the same boat. So, um,
So now
but
if your kids come in at say 28, the next 2 years, your oldest son with an MBA, you said, right? He has,
yeah,
if he wants to come in, is it gonna be kind of like you're gonna make him start at the bottom in the sense of like learning everything, or would you just
I-
kind of bring
he-
him in and turn loose? Like where would you want that
he's good.
dynamic?
I mean, he's doing more marketing right now, so he would be a great asset, and he actually already has been helping me out with that. So he's learning the business through helping me get into different aspects of the marketing side of the business. So he'll have a little different take on that. So he'll learn through that, and just kind of helping me out. Well, we haven't done a lot, but we're going to continue to do more together, and just see how that goes, and see what I mean. It's one thing to have an interest. It's another thing to really get in there and to decide, is this something that I want to do?
Totally, totally.
So it has to be right. And I think I was super naive when I first got in, and I would assume, he's going to be that way too. So you have to have, not a hard side, but you got to realize that it doesn't take much to be taken advantage of in any industry, but,
No.
you really got to be, you got to go, you have to learn that. So, I mean, it just takes a while to get through that learning curve and that learning process.
And it's
So,
unfortunate, but there is some shady people within every industry, for
yeah,
sure. And you definitely want to make sure you're stayed on top of that. So obviously you would welcome the interest of your son if the business lended it to be able to bring him in and do some with it. So where do you see Topper Cigars in the marketing world? Because obviously with the age of TikTok and Instagram, and I mean that had to have been a learning curve in itself. So how much are you instituting kind of the new way cigars are being promoted out on the social media side?
I mean, probably one area that definitely needs a lot of some work. If you look at my Facebook page, I think it's been a while since I posted. I was doing good for a while and just doing that. And it's kind of just that habit that I got out of, and I need to get back into it and just be more proactive that way. I mean, even when we came out with the 1894, we did something. I mean, I did a national press release, and that just to see how the impact of that was great. I mean, we didn't talk about that story yet. We'll get into that if you want, but
No, we'll get into it right after
yeah.
this.
Yeah, I mean, so just there's no doubt that things have changed as far as that promotion. And I enjoy doing the podcast. I mean, I think you had Dave Garofalo on your show a couple of times. I remember watching some of the old ones, doing his show, talking to Coop, just to keep in touch with these guys, just so the name's out there. That's one way, at least to help promote things. But yeah, I mean, oddly enough, and I don't even know why. I seem like I'm getting more followers on my Facebook page when I'm not saying anything. So maybe I don't know. People, I don't know what they're looking at. They're liking old pictures. So I guess I just got to start putting some new content. Maybe I'll get a ton of new people. I don't know. But, so yeah, I gotta do better at that for sure. And that's just, I don't have like a huge office with a bunch of people doing all this stuff. So I mean, if it's getting done, it's pretty much me and my wife is a huge support. I mean, my wife's um, for a while when the kids were young, she was with me full time, and then she went back to work. So I mean, she has her career, but she's an accountant, has an accounting degree, so she still helps me out. Without her, I don't. I mean, I couldn't do I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the stuff. I'd have to farm it out and pay a fortune for the stuff that she helps me out with. So great support from my wife, and that's a huge thing too. So, but I always say, I mean, I don't even with Facebook and all that kind of stuff or Insta, whatever, all that kind of social media stuff. I mean, that's part of trying to cultivate new customers. But I mean, I hate being in the office because I'm not out selling. I mean, I just feel like I'm wasting time. That's why I'm in the office at night a lot. I have a home office where I am now. I'll do a lot of stuff at night, and my wife will say, what are you doing down there?" It's like stuff that I don't want to do during the day because I can't, I don't want to waste time when I should be out selling and talking to people, So, um, but I mean, that's part of being, owning the business. I mean, you never sit it down. So I mean, it's always there, whether you
It's
want it or
it's
not. So
it's always there. It's the giant weight on your back. No matter how
yeah,
great
yeah.
everything is going, it's always there.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the 1894 release. So go ahead and share that story.
So most people probably have known, but by now, but we'll tell the story again. So we normally thought, or not, we previously thought that the origin of the company was 1896. Most of our packaging, that's what it said. Everything had that on there. So I get an email from Bill Fink from Texas, from Fink Cigars.
Yep.
And he says, "Hey, Chris, check out this letter on eBay." He said, "It's from an old letter. I think you'll be interested." So I look at it, pull up the link. I look at the letter, and it's a letter from 1921, signed by my great grandfather. Cool letter. It was a follow up letter to a wholesaler. I think it was in St. Louis. So I buy the letter. It was $15. You think I mean, if they were smart, they would have called me. I would have spent a lot more than $15. But anyway, so I get the letter, and the first thing I do is to make sure. I mean, first off, you look at it, the old time letterhead was artwork. I mean, it was like the boxes today, and was artwork was your letterhead, right? I mean, that was where it was just so cool looking. And at that point in time, we were already looking at we were blending and doing some different things, trying to come out with a new long filler cigar. Didn't know what it was going to be called yet. So I get the letter, I'm looking at it, and I verify his signature. I could look at the signature because on our 120th anniversary cigar, even though that cigar was kind of forced to market, on the inside lid, there's a picture of all 4 generations with our signatures, which was kind of cool. Like, and I look at it and I'm like, sure enough, that's the signature. And it was the exact signature. I mean, I knew it was legit, but anyways, it was kind of neat that I had his signature to do it. So, everything looks good. I read the letter. I'm looking at the letterhead. I'm like, man, this is great. I got to incorporate this into the new line. Somehow I got to do something. And then I look at the top of the page and it says established 1894. And I just took a double take and I'm like, what the hell is this? So, it's not like I found, some piece of paper in the back room and it was, a misprint from, whatever, 100. I mean, the letter's 100 years old. So, I subscribed to an archive service, and I'm searching through this archive service, and the first night that I did it, I put in 1890 to 1905. I put my great grandfather's name, the company name, in the area, and like 596 stories come up. So I literally had to go through all these stories trying to find out more information. I mean, could this have been again? What are the odds that the one letter I find that's 100 years old actually has a misprint? So and I kind of could back it up. So I mean, I think that there definitely was doing something in 1894. So I mean, there was a reason that was on there. And I still say to this day, even if we were 1896, we're still the oldest continuous brand in the U.S. Because we were making toppers for sure in 1896, and I can pretty much, maybe not 100%, but a pretty high percentage, I would say that we started in 1894. So, and I always say, who gives a shit? 1896, 1894. Well, if there's another company that was started in 1895, so it's kind of a big deal.
Yes,
it is.
It's a big deal.
So anyway, so I had a good chat with Eric Newman. I won't go into the whole story, but it was kind of funny, and I told him the story, and I kind of held back what I was going to tell him, and we went through everything, and he kind of stopped in his tracks, and he didn't know what to say. So, but it was funny. Just to be even put in the same sentence with those guys, it's great. I mean, it's a great institution, family institution. Again, same type of thing. So, obviously a much bigger company, and they market as the oldest premium cigar maker. So, I can clarify ours as the oldest continuous brand in the U.S. So, either way, we still got them beat. I mean, like I said to him, I said, gotcha. I said, gotcha. So when I found that out, I did a full press release, which I hadn't really done an official press release. I mean, paid somebody to do all the stuff, got it out on and it was kind of funny. I don't know why, but it was on the Yahoo front page of Yahoo Finance. I was like, I don't know why I was more proud of that than anything else. But if you Google it now, it's like there's still so many stories came up from that, and that was
only just a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
it was 2
I
years
remember
ago.
when you posted that actually.
Yeah. So, and that just kind of kicked it off. So that's the 1894, and then we're like, okay, so what are we going to do with this blend? So we had to do something. We wanted to do a modern take on our history, right? We didn't want to change it up too much, but we wanted to change it up a little bit to make something a little different. So that wrapper that we use, the Pennsylvania Habano, it's grown in the Sugar Valley. It's a small area in northern PA or north central PA, and so it's our history started in Pennsylvania, and we're using Cuban fillers. So check those 2 off the box. You got a Pennsylvania Habano. And then the tweak on that cigar that was really interesting, I think, is that the filler is broadleaf, but it's grown in the DR. So just that's what adds the sweetness to it. And I'm a true broadleaf lover. I mean, I've never used another a broadleaf grown somewhere else as a wrapper, but as a filler, it really added to the cigar, and I thought it was a great combination. So um, again, so that's I just thought it was an interesting take on our history and something that's a little bit different. And there's definitely not anything else that has a similar blend to that's on the market. So.
Well, we have a new person here, well, not new person to the show, but Chris turns out says never heard of Topper yet. So something new to me. Love finding out about new brands. Chris, do yourself a favor. Check them out. This thing I can't get enough of. The Grande, the short one, not short
Shorty,
filler,
yeah.
but the
It's,
shorty version of it. I can't get enough of it, and it's. I'm telling you, Chris, it's right up your alley. Definitely do yourself a favor, and this is box worthy, 100% box worthy. If you have not had this yet,
those should be available retail by March. So I
perfect.
mean, the cigars
Save
have been
up,
ready. We're
Chris.
just waiting for the packaging. So
So, Chris,
they
when
can
it
try the
comes
big one
out,
first.
buy 3 boxes, 2 to smoke right away, and 1 to keep on hand for down the road. I'm telling you, you'll go through these quick, brother. You're a cigar guy too, so very very good cigars. Um, so what is your approach to getting into a new store? Do you walk in with your Topper Cigars logo? Do you go incognito? What is your approach to that?
I mean, I never walk in with a briefcase and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'll just walk in and introduce. I mean, if it's really a true cold call, if it's just whatever, I'm on vacation or I'm out of town, just whatever, I'm doing something with the family, and I'll walk in and just start talking to them. And either it's like Chris, they never heard of us, and I'll talk to them and give them a card and follow up, or they heard of us and they said, oh, we have a whatever. Maybe they had a couple people ask for them and they never did anything, and you started off that way, but traditionally traditionally I had a route almost like in all of the Northeast, and I was just on it all the time, and so many new stores opening up, so you're just stopping in and talking to new customers all the time. So no hard press sales, just I mean, you want to be able to close people and have them become a customer, but you kind of have to that's part of the you gotta create start a relationship and realize that I'm not there. It's not like I'm a salesman trying to make my numbers for the month. It's my it's different. Not that I have some huge brand, but I mean, it's different being the brand owner walking in than it is someone who's trying to make numbers for the month, or they got to make so many calls, they got to make 12 calls a day or whatever they got to do. So I kind of have a little bit of it, makes it a little bit easier doing that conversation.
Oh, for sure. So when you walk into a lounge and you for the first time, are you looking around at what other people are smoking and like being like, hey, if you like, I see you're smoking X, ours is similar to this. Like, do you make that comparison for people, or how,
Yeah,
what
I
is what
mean,
is your
I,
approach to
I,
that?
I think anybody who's has had any experience, first thing you do is walk through I mean, I won't even say hello sometimes. I'll walk in the humidor because you may get in the humidor and see that there's hardly any cigars there, and this guy's, he's on his last,
Or they're all
he's
dusty.
or yeah, I mean, you won't even want to be in there. Let's see what he's selling. I mean, if you walk in and it's stuff that I've never heard of, and or there's not a lot of inventory, or on the contrary, you walk in and it's put together nice. It's you can tell the person's professional. Then you're going to make your best attempt to try and to generate an account and be able to get them to. I mean, there's a long story that I have to tell. I can tell it in small tidbits, but I mean, I had the advantage of being able to talk about the history and all that stuff. So it just that makes it a little bit easier. And then I mean, it's even like with the distributors that I deal with, trying to get distributors. I mean, if they haven't heard of you and no one's asked for it, it's a very difficult. I don't care I mean, you have new guys that are on here, trying to go out and do it. I mean, it's not an easy thing. I mean, if there's no pull, I mean, wholesalers will tell you that all the time. Listen, if we don't have any pull, we're not even going to take. If I don't have anybody asking for it, they're not out selling. They have 1,000 items in their catalog, and if they're not going to add anything, they're looking to get rid of stuff that's not selling. They don't want to take something that nobody's asking for. So you have to be able to generate pull and get people to, by doing shows like this and getting out there and just doing enough events and doing enough promotion that you can get people to be interested in the product, whether it's, press releases or whatever. But you have to have a little bit, you have to get people interested in the product to be able to do it. So I don't think anybody has the exact answer on that. There's some guys that do it a lot better than others. So fortunately, we've just had a long history, and I have an established business. And the trying to cultivate new customers is always a difficult process.
It's hard because you gotta be there. I always tell it, Colorado, for whatever reason, Colorado is a very, very hard, not for whatever reason. I know the reasons. Colorado is a very hard state. Colorado is, I have found like 3 main companies that do amazing out here in Colorado, and it's hard to tap in the market. One, it's almost a 60% sales tax. That makes it harder. Puts a $10 cigar at about $15. So it doesn't make anyone's life easier to move new brands. And I find that a lot of times when you live in a higher tax state, people gravitate towards what they know they're going to like. They're less likely to take a risk on a new cigar when it's $15 for the cigar. I know I could smoke this one for 15 and I know exactly what I want. How do you overcome the I only smoke X brand cigar smokers, or the lounge owner that cares more about his profile than those of the consumers that go to his shop?
I mean, the next layer is to hit on price point. When if you go in the store and there's a lot of stores, even our machine made. I mean, whatever, I got to get in the door, and all I want to do is get in the door. I don't need 12 SKUs. I'll take 2 or 3 or 1.
Minimums of any kind.
No, I want to get in. I just want to get a footing in there, and then let the customer see if it's something that we can build. So I mean, fortunately our line is, even the 125th anniversary. I mean, it's $13. I mean, anybody else?
Very
maybe I'm not the smartest guy. I mean, it's not an expensive cigar for what it is.
No.
If anybody, if that was any, we won't. I mean, you can pick a name. If they were coming out with a 125th anniversary cigar, it'd be $40, $45, $50, $30, whatever. I mean,
sure.
It's an amazing value for that cigar. It should really be more expensive, but so you hit price points, and then if a lot of, like, for example, in Hartford years ago, the tobacconist in Hartford, it's a white label account. I was their inexpensive cigar. They didn't have anything else that competed with me. So I'm like, the idea is, if someone's walking in the door and they don't want to spend whatever the number is today, it's $10, $9, $7, whatever. I mean, back then it was $6 was expensive, and mine was $1.50. So I mean, you want to be able to grab it to get a customer as well on their part. So you don't want someone walking out and not buying anything. So eventually, even if he's smoking, if he keeps buying the inexpensive cigars, eventually he's going to need a lighter, he's going to need a cutter, he's going to need something. So, and eventually he'll move up the ladder, you hope. So you try to build customers that way. So a lot of times, in some of the other distribution that we've had, we'll be the only inexpensive cigar, under $5. And I even have some of my mixed filled. I don't think I sent you any, but the Topper Dan Lee line. It's made in. I blended it with Christian Aroa when he owned Camacho. It has a broadleaf wrapper, and it has their Camacho, or their Corojo filler. So it's the cuttings from the long filled Camacho Corojo. So I mean, it's an inexpensive. It's basically a $5 version of a $15 cigar. So, but it's a great price point, and there's it's a bundle price in a box presentation. So you just have to have different price points and some way to get in that door. Whether it's price point, whether it's a recent review that you got that it's hot and people are actually looking for it, or whether you gotta have feet on the street too. I mean, that's the other thing we didn't really talk about that, but doing do I have anything? Where was the other customer? Was it Michigan? I think
Michigan,
you said, or
yes.
yeah. So I mean, it's kind of difficult if I don't have a rep that's out there. If I'm not out there, if you're just going to sit something on a shelf and hope that it sells and there's nobody walking in, if I go into a store and I hang out for a Thursday afternoon and you talk to 5 or 10 customers, give them a little story and get them to try something. I mean, it's tough to do things without, relying on the retailer to do that. So good retailers can do that. Not everybody has someone at it's not always the owner that's operating it, that's going to sit there, or they have a great manager that's promoting things. But it's just it's difficult for them to sell themselves. You got to have a little bit of help. So
How often are you doing events?
I mean, I do regular events, not as many as we used to. A lot more when you introduce a new line, because you're usually launching things. So, but I should be more active on that. And now that I have another, well, it's not breaking news, but I have another a line extension on the 1894 that'll be debuted at the upcoming show. So we're gonna put a new wrapper on that. So, when I do that, I'm sure we'll have a bunch more events, and that the new line is going to enable me to have a little more of a portfolio. We'll have the 125th anniversary. We'll have the 1894 with the Pennsylvania Habano. And then the new line is going to be it'll be an 1894, but it's going to be a broadleaf. So talk about an interesting take there. It's going to have Connecticut broadleaf from Connecticut on the wrapper, and Connecticut broadleaf and the filler from the Dominican. So I don't think anyone else has done that either. So excited to get that out. I've been smoking them and they've been fantastic. So
I gotta ask you, I've heard that broadleaf in the last couple of years is very hard to obtain. I've heard that from several different manufacturers. It doesn't seem like you have that problem. Um,
well,
why?
one thing is going back to the relationships, right? So you have people that you have people to support you, like, that I've known for years, that I knew before they were in positions that they're in now. So that helps. I'm not selling 100 million cigars either. So a lot of times the big guys are buying everything up, and kind of it's wink wink, nudge nudge, they save whatever X amount of pounds for me so I can do my production on this. So it's a problem though. I mean, when something catches on, when I launched the 125th, I got super nervous because I sold right through it. And I'm like, it wasn't like it was an opus for me. I didn't want to do just release it once a year at what they used to do. So it was difficult. I didn't have product for a while. So, to be able to have that on a consistent basis is very difficult. And it's not easy to get broadleaf. There's broadleaf available. It's become more expensive. But the problem with broadleaf too is it's just, the yield is horrific. It's just such a tough wrapper to work with. The wrapper grade that I have on the 125th anniversary. So it's a wrapper grade that I bought. And on a good yield, it's 20% of that I get to use on the 125th. So it makes it pretty expensive. So, we still use the rest of it for other projects, but it's, it'd be great if I could use it, even 50% would be wonderful, but it's not. The first production run was 17% yield.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's just such a difficult, wrapper to use, but it's the reward is there, but it's just unfortunately it's difficult to get. And yeah, I don't have sheds full of it, so but able to be able to make somehow get it done, right? So
it's because you get it done.
But it's definitely becoming more difficult, and getting what you need and can use and have good quality is definitely different. And listen, I remember when I was just growing up in the business and I would go to a trade show. I would leave. The trade shows used to be in August, and they're starting to harvest tobacco. Everything is being harvested. I'd leave and everything was fine. Looks like a great crop. And I get to Vegas or wherever, Dallas or wherever the hell the show was. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, did you hear what happened? I'm like, what? We didn't have cell phones back then. It wasn't like today, It's like, oh, we just had a storm. There was all kinds of hail damage. They lost 300 acres or whatever, or there was blue mold, or there was brown spot, or there was this, or there was that, or, so there was always something was happening. And then it would be, everything's shot and there's too much rain, not enough. I mean, as difficult as it is to run a business and keep it going for 4 generations, I don't know that I want to be a grower. I mean, it's a hugely stressful proposition to grow tobacco. So with all the natural elements and worrying about what's going to happen, because something always does happen, and they can never breathe. I mean, it could be great in the field, everything's fine, they harvest it, and then you have a shitty curing season, and it's stuff gets ruined in the shed and the barns. So I mean, it's not done until it's until they sell it to you and you get it and it's properly cared for and we age it properly and you ferment it and get it on cigars and then it's good. But I mean, it's not done until then. It's just it's a long process. So
Would you ever see yourself bringing back the factory?
well, my blood pressure is pretty good now still, so I would probably say I mean, yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. I mean, first off, I mean, it's impossible. I mean, it's almost impossible to do it here in the U.S. If I had to do that, it's just too much of an undertaking. I mean, we have great partners. Try and surround yourself with people that you want to, with good people, right? So, and I've tried to do that throughout my career, and there's been times when I realized that they weren't representative of what I wanted them to, or they weren't doing what I wanted to, and I've made changes. But I really got a good group of people that I work with at De Los Reyes, and I have faith in them and trust in them. Nothing worse than going to the DR and then coming back and you don't know what's happening. So, or Honduras or Nicaragua, pick XYZ, whatever. But when you can build the trust with the manufacturer, and be able to, they know what I need, and I do what I have to do on my part to make sure that everything is taken care of, and you got to have a good working relationship. It's got to benefit both of us. So, but I would never foresee that. Unless all of a sudden I came into some stupid money that just I wanted to try it. But I at this stage of my career, I don't know that I would do that. I think it would be it just would not really work.
Be a
I don't
headache.
think. Yeah, I mean, you look at all the guys that I'm good friends with Nick Melillo. You look at Nick, Saka, all those guys. I mean, I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see any of them. I mean, they have great relationships with their manufacturers. I don't see them, or I don't see people really looking to try and go start a factory because it's just so difficult to. You have the language barrier. You have to have some people there that you can trust, and to be able to do that is just it would be difficult, and you got to be there. I mean, I'd have to move there.
Yeah, the juice probably isn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think so.
So here it as we close up the show, I've got a few lightning round questions. Now, boy, this show flew by, Chris. I mean, we're almost.
I was ready to start a
hours.
second cigar.
We're almost at 2 hours. That's the fun of this podcast, though. It's just time flies when you're having a good time. So, in some of the lightning round questions, I ask pretty much almost every guest, what is a rapper that you would love to work with but currently don't?
I mean, again, another difficult rapper. I always liked the taste of Cameroon years ago. I haven't really tasted a bunch of great Cameroon lately, but I was always intrigued by the taste. I like the spice of that. But never really have worked with it or had enough knowledge of who to deal with and all that kind of. And the availability is, I mean, it's probably even more difficult than broadleaf, or as difficult. So.
Yeah, no, especially if you want like Marifel Cameroon versus Cameroon seed,
Yeah. If you want the real stuff, yeah, it's not.
What is
not going to be easy?
I think I already know the answer to this, but I'm just going to ask it anyways. What's your favorite rapper?
That's got to be broadleaf.
Broadleaf.
That's easy.
I figured that was the question. What is your favorite pairing. And please give us the bourbon, the whiskey, the scotch, whatever you drink. Name and cigar.
So, I mean, I enjoy bourbon, but I'm not a huge like bourbon guy that I'm like really into it. Uh, but so I do drink it and enjoy it. Uh, you know, whatever. I'm more of a beer guy. So,
Sure.
um, yeah. So I mean, in contrary to a lot of, I drink. I mean, I do a lot of red ales. I drink a lot of Schmittix. I like that. That pairs well, I think. But I do like double IPAs, not the crazy ones that are. But and I'll pair that with anything. I think that if you get something that's super strong, obviously, I mean, you got to work with it. I don't know that have a specific.
You don't have a
Um,
go-to.
yeah, I mean, honestly, they'll kind of laugh at you when I'm in a DR and I'll drink Presidente, but it's just because you're doing it because you're when in Rome, right? It's not a great beer. It's all right. I mean, it's like a, but it's super cold. I mean, they serve it just for whatever reason. There's just something about it there. I don't know why, but anyways, but that's not like my favorite. But I just laugh because they always give me shit when I'm down there because I'm always drinking Presidente. So, but it's what's there.
See,
But
bourbon
yeah, so
helps me keep my girlish figure.
yeah, there you go. That's true. The double IPAs, I've had to slow down. I mean, I was a big, not only because of the name, I was a big Heady Topper fan. If you've ever had that from the Alchemist Brewery in Vermont. But yeah, no, that definitely adds. You look down and you can see it's tougher to see your shoes if you drink too many of those. So it's like
Yes.
8.5 or 9%, and you got a double IPA. One of those, and you're kind of a little light on your feet. So yeah, it gets to you. So
Oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with having a gut. My granddad always used
no,
to tell me, every good tool deserves a good tool shed. I remember poking him in the gut one time when he was, I don't know, early, maybe mid 60s, somewhere in there. And I go, Granddad, and he looked at me. He goes, "Son, every good tool deserves a good tool shed." um, what is what's one of your what's your genre of music?
I'm all over the board. I mean,
Tay Tay
probably
fan?
like, huh?
You a Taylor Swift fan? Like how all over the
Well,
board are you?
definitely not a Taylor Swift fan. I don't know that I could tell it too many of her songs. I mean, like probably my go to, no matter what, would be Steely Dan type of music. So,
Oh yeah.
uh, but and then I'll listen to whatever Snoop and rap and other things. I listen to kind of all across the board, depending on the who I'm with and what we're doing.
If you had to smoke a cigar with somebody historical, not Jesus or Moses or any biblical character, but a historical character, who would it be and what topper cigar would you bring for them?
So a non-family member.
No, you could choose anybody. I just said not Jesus.
Oh,
You could literally
yeah,
bring
no,
anybody.
I mean, I've heard more. I've heard so much more just because I was closer in age to my my grandfather, but either my grandfather or my great grandfather. I would just love to be to find out what it was like back then. I mean, and like I said, I used to when I first started selling cigars. When I joined the company, I would hear stories. A lot of the customers knew my grandfather, so it was kind of great to be able to hear stories about him through them. But obviously, BP Topper, which was my great grandfather, I would love to be able to. I've only seen pictures and heard stories. And when I, real quick, when I was on that archive service, I mean, when I saw all those stories that he had, it was, I mean, it was so funny. Some of the stuff that I learned, I mean, back in the day, it was the late 1800s. I mean, basically, Facebook existed, but it was through the like the ongoings in town on the newspaper. I mean, I remember
Message
reading a story like
board.
BP. Yeah, it was like BP Topper was spotted driving his new Lexington, or what the hell was it? It was whatever the hell he had, some kind of car, Lexington touring car. And I'm like, first of all, what the hell's a Lexington touring car? So I had to Google that, look at what that was. So it was just kind of cool just to see what he seemed to be like. He seemed to be an interesting character. So yeah.
How much of a family historian are you?
Uh, I mean, I don't know how to answer that. Other than I probably know more than a bunch of other people, but there's still I have a few cousins and different people that I go to for questions that I have. And um, uh, between when I did that real deep dive, finding out about 1894, the history of the company, I also I have like over 100 pages of deposition of my great grandfather and my grandfather when we had a trademark lawsuit. So I have all that. And if you have a trademark infringement lawsuit, I mean, there's all kinds of information
Sure.
about where we were manufacturing, what we were doing, what factories were made, where were the factories, how many cigars were you selling. So it was kind of cool to learn all that stuff. So, I mean, I kind of have a pretty good knowledge of what we did in at certain times throughout the history of the company.
So is there going to be a legacy release for you in the sense of like do you have old blends? Do you have some of the old stuff where you could actually go back and go, this is a blend of something old with something new and bring in like a heritage line?
I mean, that's actually a good idea. Maybe we'll talk about that later. I have all the old blends. I have
I
files of
figured you
blends.
did.
It's kind of cool. I mean, I have some really interesting stuff too. I have blends, and I have the cost of the filler, which was Cuban. I have all the stuff that we paid and how much it was, and it's. I mean, there's volumes of that stuff, and it takes forever to go through. I mean, I don't throw away anything. If I showed you the rest of my office, it wouldn't. It's not so pretty. I mean, there's stuff everywhere, so there's a lot of that, and a lot of everything else, all kind of scattered around. So,
See, I think it would be fun as a fan of Topper Cigars and somebody that is now going to be incorporating you into my humidor. Um, it would be fun to get like you said the founder was BP Topper or
BP, yeah,
BH
yeah,
BP.
Bernard
So
Phillip, yeah.
it'd be interesting to do like a legacy line and do like a BP cigar and then a great grandfather cigar and then your father and then you and have it blend the old with the new and just have it be Topper Heritage line and one from each generation. I think it would be a project, but I think
I,
stuff like that carries an incredible story, and us cigar smokers, we're sentimental bastards. We love the stories. We love the lineage, the heritage, the history of it. And for you to be able to produce something that's similar to something back in the 1800s, I think that's a great idea personally.
so I would kind of counter and say that that is maybe it wasn't presented as a heritage line, but even the 1894 was kind of something like that. Maybe not presented as that, but you're right. I mean, kind of what you're saying is kind of what we did, but it because of the historical with the find, all the information that I found, we called it 1894. But I mean, there's I would more than likely be able to do something like that, even if it was a limited release, something that was just,
Yes.
and just go with whatever, a heritage or a BP legacy, whatever. I mean, it's just so funny when you look back at BP, it's like, what the hell's a BP? I mean, everybody was PT Barnum. I mean, everybody was, they just used their initials. I mean, it was just funny how people talked and everybody was, uh, I mean, it was FV, Felix Vincent was one of the brothers, and then another brother was Hugh, but it was like HE. I don't know, I forget what his middle name was, but so yeah, it was to be able to do something like that would actually be interesting. So maybe you got me thinking. So
And you
I
could
got a
do
couple new
like,
releases.
yeah,
After I get these releases, in the thought process there.
yeah, you could do like BP as like a Toro, and then the other brothers could have another size, that type
So
thing.
I did do a line. So when um I had a line in I guess it was the 90s, late 90s. Um it was called Cosmo. So if you remember, maybe you probably don't know, but there was a TV show that was called Topper, and when I came out with Cosmo it was Cosmo Topper was the main character. So it was Hugh Grant, or no, Hugh Grant. It was not Hugh Grant. He was too young. Um, what the heck? Now I got to think.
Leo
Anyways, it was
Carroll.
pretty
Leo
famous.
Carroll.
Leo G. Carroll, and there was another guy. It was a real famous guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I
Robert
can't Google. I
Sterling.
can't.
Robert
No,
Sterling.
there's another one. There's another one.
Thurston
It
Hall.
was.
Thurston Hall.
That was Cary Grant. It was Cary Grant. I think was in it.
Okay.
Like. Anyways, so it was a cool movie, and then there was a TV series. So and I did when I came out with Cosmo, and then one of the cigars was FBT, which was my dad's initials. So I kind of did that in a sense, but yours is more focused. If I just did a BP or a Kurt, CRT was for my grandfather was Curtis Richards. So anyways, but that'd be interesting and cool to do something like that.
Yeah, because then you're like capitalize on that entire history, and with right now, I think with the whole AI thing, and I feel like a lot of people feel that their own history is lost. Like I can go back to Joshua Lafayette Miller, mid 1800s. My granddad traced us back to like mid 1600s, landing here when we were Mueller, Mueller, and then somewhere along the way, like 1700s, it switched to Miller, probably closer to or around the Revolutionary War, to break free of that Mueller German English style of name. So stuff like that always interests me. And to be able to, I would love to call myself a history buff, but I'm not. But to be able to incorporate that type of lineage was amazing. Right here we have Bruce says Cary Grant was the movie and Leo
There you go.
Carlington was the TV show.
Yeah. Okay.
So stuff like that is, I mean, you have vast stories you could tell. And I think that would be a fun project for you to do within Topper, personally.
Well, point taken. Good thought.
Hey, I'm full of them, and I don't charge for any of them. So
maybe there'll be some more cigars heading your way.
Hey, that's fun. And again, it's that lineage. It's bringing that in. It's just the cigar guys love the good story, and I think you have a great story, and definitely would love to see a Topper Heritage line come out with all the generations in there. I think that would be a lot of fun for you, and then get your son involved with it as well, of course.
Yeah.
So
you take a look. I'm sure it's online. Take a look at the just search Topper 120th anniversary, and look at the inside lid. You'll see it. It's. I mean, it's all over. It'll come up on images, but kind of what you're saying. I mean, I've kind of done a little bit. I haven't specifically done what you're talking about, but I've done. There's been parts of it in a lot of the things that I have done, but I like your slant. I think it's a good thought.
Yeah, I like that. I see the box. You can look at it over on Half Wheel, where it has all the 1, 2, 3, 4 in there. Yeah, I assume it's left to right as far as BP and then so on.
I think that picture of BP almost looks like Abe Lincoln. It's such an old shot.
It is. It is an old. So do you have some of the old murals or hand paintings, pictures back then?
I have a little. The one thing that I wish that I had more of was just some of the old. I mean, I have a lot of old information, but I don't have a lot of old shots of like factories. I mean, I have pictures of some of the factories, but I don't have a lot of great stuff to look at as far as that goes. Like I'm always looking for like some of the old tin signs or some kind of advertising that we did back in the day. I've always thought that I would be able to find stuff, and I just haven't been able to come across a lot of it. But
1894, you got to have tin types too, right? Of just personal pictures and portraits.
I mean, I have portraits and stuff like that, but not a ton of stuff. You think I would have stuff of like, my grandfather in the factory, and I mean, I have some stuff, but just not a ton of, I mean, in general, back then they didn't think about taking pictures like we do today. I mean, now look at my phone. I got
it was an ordeal. It was an
Yeah.
ordeal to take a picture.
Yeah. So it wasn't, and I don't even know. I don't think it was like not that I just don't think you thought about doing that kind of stuff, you know? So
You certainly weren't
anyway.
getting action shots through tintypes. You
Mm-mm.
had to like sit for like 10 minutes. You had to sit still while the camera did its developing things. So, um, well, Chris, this has been a lot of fun to have you on tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your family's stories. I'm sure we could go on for a couple more shows with how many stories you have with the family and can tell. So you are always welcome back for the show. I hope you had a great time going down memory lane. And thank you very much for sharing a lot of the stories about your family. It was very, very informative. And I love the background. I love the historical background of the brand. And I look really forward to seeing what's to come out of the next 5, 10 years of Topper. I hope we see a legacy line.
Well, it was great talking to you, and we'll work on that. And we'll talk to you again maybe after we launch the new 1894. We'll get to talk about that a little bit, and well, maybe by then I'll be working on some the next project. So we'll incorporate some type of legacy line.
Well, I'm going to tell
We'll go from there.
everybody watching right now in March when this little beautiful puppy comes out, uh, definitely box worthy. Definitely buy it. I like the flavor profile of this better than the Grande. The Grande is incredible, so that says a lot. Definitely do your best, everybody watching. Support Topper, one of the oldest brands, the oldest continuous brand inside of the
There you
United
go.
States. So support them. They're absolutely fantastic cigar. I've had several of his so far, and they will be a staple. And when this puppy comes out, I will be buying a box of it wherever I can. This was absolutely fantastic. Chris, thank you so much for coming on tonight. And until we see you all again, smoke what you like, smoke as many fucking Topper cigars as you can, and have a great, great rest of your week. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Thanks. Thanks again.